Woo! You didn't think we could turn up anymore, did ya? Well, think again, because that's exactly what we're gonna do. It's Jaylin Santana. Let's get it!
Get loose, dance it up now. Hit the floor and dance it up now. Get turned, dance it up now. Party time, we dancing up.
What's up, everybody? It's your boy Jaylin Santana here with my very first exclusive interview. Let's get it. This is my faithful dog Omar, by the way. Say hi, Omar. Aww. I love my puppy. This is our puppy, Omar. Our Pitbull and Boxer mix.
Woo! You know who's back up in this?
Oh, it feels amazing, man. Man, I've come so far in my career. Man, from when I was 16, you know, writing my first singles and my debut album, and now most of my fourth album. Man, rap, it's really changed my life. You know, it's really taken me such a long way in life. You know, I've just come so far, you know, from writing my first rhyme at 14 to, you know, producing 4 whole albums. Man, like 10 years ago, I didn't think, you know, I didn't think in 2011 that I'd be in 2021, you know, with 4 hip hop records out there, you know, whether I was a signed artist or not. You know, it's just, you know, I've come such a long way, man. I love it. You know, I'm proud of the hard work I put into. You know, I got support from all my family members. You know, my mom, my dad, my grandparents, my cousins, everyone. I've been getting support from the whole family. You know, I thank them from the bottom of my heart for that, and most importantly, I'm thankful to God for that. Because, man, if it weren't for God, you know, I wouldn't. You know, if it weren't for God's blessings, you know, I wouldn't be in the place that I am now. So, yeah. So I'm proud of my hard work. You know, I'm proud of how far I came in the rap game, and man, it's just it's a lovely feeling. Yo, I want to start a thing. I want to make a difference in this world and enhance people's lives. You know what I'm saying? I want to make everybody happy. Mainly because my album Autistically Dope was kind of my breakthrough. I mean, you know, obviously it didn't make me famous. You know, Autistically Dope. You know, it was. You know, it was. I mean, it really got a name for myself. Autistically Dope did. You know, because it was out and around. You know where I live. You know, in the western suburbs of Chicago, and I managed to get it all around Chicago too. You know, I was rapping at a lot of open mics out there. You know, thus getting my name out and around Chicago. You know, Chicago's got a significant hip hop scene, which I thank Twista and Common for, because you know they were like the first rappers to put Chicago on the map. But anyway, yeah. So yeah, Autistically Dope. That was like the album that really got a name for myself. You know, it was like the one that was like really getting out to people, and like, you know, people were feeling me. You know, through my music. In fact, I even you know, did a show, you know, at my own high school, my alma mater. Not even 2 months after I dropped that album. You know, in early 2018. You know, I performed in the gymnasium of my alma mater, my high school, at this event called Project Dance. You know, that was to raise money for autism. And you know, since I'm a rapper with autism, you know, they with the first song on my new album being my at the time new album, Autistically Dope, being called Autistic Ambition. You know, they thought it would be really cool for the event for Project Dance to have me perform Autistic Ambition. Therefore everybody attending, you know, Project Dance. So anyway, Autistically Dope. It was really quite a remarkable album to me. You know, because or not just to me, to everybody listening, because like, you know, people were relating to my songs on that album. You know, I wasn't like preaching about autism. You know, I was, you know, just like writing about my life like any other rapper would do. Hi, Omar. And it was an album that a lot of people related to. You know, not just people with autism. You know, an album that, you know, a lot of people all over the world related to. You know, I was really getting a name for myself because, you know, it was becoming a viral hit, mainly around the Chicago area, like I said. And then about a year and a half later, I dropped my third album, The Stars of Spirit. And The Stars of Spirit, that wasn't, you know, as big of a hit as Autistically Dope. Probably because, you know, I told a lot of stories on the album that were very personal. And by very personal, I mean like I was very specific about my personal life. You know, growing up as a kid. You know, growing up in Elgin and then St. Charles, Illinois. You know, I you know was very personal about that. You know, I was like very specific with my stories. So I can see why The Stars of Spirit wasn't as big of a hit. You know, because not as many people could relate to that. Whereas on Autistically Dope, you know, I was rapping about things like, you know, popularity, coming of age, romance, you know, emotional love, a lot of subjects that teenagers, you know, and adolescents and like young adults can relate to. So, yes. So since Autistically Dope, you know, like became, you know, the album that like really got me out there, that got me, you know, out and around, you know, especially Chicago, you know, the Chicago area, you know, people had my album, you know, they bought my albums, you know, they streamed it on like Spotify and all that, you know, people were talking about it. So yeah, that album, you know, was obviously, you know, blew up way more than The Stars of Spirit. I mean, The Stars of Spirit, you know, got some, you know, good responses, you know, because, you know, it was positive, you know, it had a very positive message to it. You know, it's just that it was very personal, and you know, so personal that not as many people could relate to it. So with that being said, since Autistically Dope, you know, was an album that you know, that got a name for myself, I decided to make a sequel to that. To follow it up, you know, pretty much make like a chapter 2 of Autistically Dope. So people who you know, related to Autistically Dope, you know, would be like, oh, he's making an Autistically Dope II. I'm probably gonna relate to this. You know, this is he's following up his album that you know, was relatable to everyone. You know, he was rapping about partying. You know, he was rapping about, you know, romance. You know, he was rapping about, you know, inspirational messages. You know, songs with positive vibes. So, you know, since he was rapping about that on Autistically Dope, and now he's making a sequel to that, then it's going to be a follow up to that. So anyway, I wanted to do a sequel to Autistically Dope. You know, to, you know, give people some, you know, something to look forward to, and kind of just like have the same concept as the first Autistically Dope.
Wasn't really shy, but I was never ever fly. It was a bad start because I wasn't even smart. I didn't really have any friends because all it was a bunch of odds and ends. Yo, yeah, I knew that I was nuts, but I had a lot of guts. I tried for basketball like it was my on-off.
Well, I started rapping for fun when I was 14, but back then I was just rapping songs that like famous songs that I like. You know, songs like This Is Why I'm Hot, Crank That Soldier Boy. I remember when I was 14, my favorite rapper at the time was Pitbull, so I was rapping a lot of songs by Pitbull. Speaking of Pitbull, there goes my Pitbull about to bark. Omar, I'm trying to give an interview. Will you please be quiet? Anyway, so I was just rapping songs that, you know, would you please be quiet? 1 second. Sorry about that. Omar was barking, asking to go outside. So, and let him outside for a little bit. But anyway, where were we? Oh yeah, so. I started rapping for fun at the age of 14. You know, back then I was just rapping to songs on the radio that I liked. Mostly Pitbull, because, yeah, like I said, Pitbull was my favorite rapper at the time, and a lot of that is because I was growing up in Elgin, which is a city in Illinois that has a big Latin community. You know, there's a lot of people there of Latin descent. And Pitbull, he's Cuban, so he's a rapper that a lot of people in Elgin are related to. So, a lot of people, were jamming out to him. So, there I was, this white American with these people of Latin descent, jamming out Pitbull. I mean, of course, I don't believe in stereotypes. I don't believe in cultural appropriation. I think Pitbull is a rapper that a lot of people, a lot of descents can relate to. But anyway, back to the question. Yeah, Pitbull was my favorite rapper at the time. Back then, I was rapping the songs by like him, by like Flo Rida, or sometimes even Eminem, or Lil Wayne, or Drake, rappers that were hot at that time. So yeah, back then it was just rapping along the songs that I liked. I started writing my own rhymes when I was 14. 14. I meant 16. Yes, 16. I started writing my own rhymes when I was 16. I wrote a few rhymes when I was 14. Very few of them. Like I said, like stronger than an ox and faster than a fox. That I remember that was like one of my first rhymes. I think I wrote that when I was 14, but I started taking rap seriously when I was 16. That's when I was like really writing 16 bar verses to use for songs. And I was coming up with like hooks that would be catchy. So I started taking it seriously when I was 16. That's when I met my high school friend, who had a home studio in his house and had connections to beats. So he pretty much got me all hooked up with that. He gave me beats to rap to, beats to write my songs to, and then let me record in the studio when I was ready. This is how my debut album, Route 58, was made. Because I started off with just a few singles to release. This was in fall of 2014. And then I recorded a whole album, Route 58, and dropped that in 2015. So that's where it all started. I was of course I was doing my homework, studying the real lyricists. I was studying like the real lyricists, like Busta Rhymes, Jay-Z, Eminem, Tupac, Biggie, all of them. I was into, back then I was into, old school hip hop, mostly artists from the 90s. There wasn't a whole lot of new artists I listened to, mainly just ones my peers were listening to, like Drake, Lil Wayne, Kanye and all of them. But mainly, most of, my playlist was, the 80s and 90s. I also listened to a lot of Public Enemy and like the Beastie Boys and NWA. I studied them and wrote my own rhymes, recorded in a real studio with my first album, and that's where it all began.
Game time's prime time, I'm at it again. I'm still here rapping insane, bars are romantic with pain. Left over from my mental scars, but I'm still fast in the lane. Let all my slacking remain, deep in the past in a dream.
Who are my favorite rappers? That is a really, really good question to ask anyone in hip hop. Rappers, DJs, all that. It's a great question to ask them. Well, my list of my favorite rappers changes, a lot. I know a lot of rappers say that they're their own favorite rappers, but that ain't really how it is with me, because me, I'm not one of those rappers that's like really like egotistical and like cocky. I mean, I'll listen to my own music. I'll listen to my music that that I recorded and put out, and like You know, I'll like bump out and bump out in my rides. But you know, I'm pretty humble. You know, I'm a lot like Kendrick. I'm a bit humble about my music. You know, like a lot of other rappers. You know, I do want to make it big. You know, at the same time, you know, I'm not like selfish. You know, I'm not like, you know, like self-centered. You know, when it comes to like me being a rapper. But anyway, so my favorite rappers. I would say my favorite rappers as of right now are Biggie Smalls, Nas, Jay-Z, and Tupac. I also listen to a lot of rock rap and country rap. You know, rappers with some rock and country influences. You know, because you know every rapper, everyone who's a hip hop fan, they gotta have their favorite genres. You know, after hip hop. You know, something I learned on how to avoid being a whack rapper is have other genres to listen to as well. Because the thing about hip hop is that hip hop is made from just about every other genre you can think of. You know, if you watch Ice-T's documentary, Something from Nothing: The Art of Rap, you know, you'll hear them talking about how they took records of songs of other genres and made it in what they call the do-it-yourself version, you know, and just added the lyrics to it, you know, the lyrics to rap over the beats, you know. So anyway, hip hop, you know, is made from, you know, just about every other genre you can think of. So it's kind of whack to just say, oh, I listen to hip hop and I diss every other genre. If you genuinely only like hip hop, you know, that's understandable to some extent, you know, because you know some people just grow up that way. But anyway, going back to the question, yeah, if we're talking about hip hop rappers, yeah, my favorites are definitely Jay, Nas, Biggie, and Pac. You know, I listen to a lot of rappers that are like country rappers and like rock rappers. You know, country rappers. I listen to a lot of Bubba Sparks, Cowboy Troy, Big Smo, and Upchurch. For rock rappers, I listen to a lot of Limp Bizkit, Hollywood Undead, Rage Against the Machine. Oh, they're definitely my favorite rap metal group. Who else? Like Saliva, POD. Bands like them. So yeah, so my favorite rappers, you know, it changes a lot, but you know, throughout the years, it's been mostly the artists, you know, from the '90s that I mentioned. Yeah, pretty much all the greats from the '90s and '80s you can think of: NWA, Wu-Tang, Public Enemy, Beastie Boys, Young MC, Rob Bass, and DJ Easy Rock, you know, all of them. So yeah, there you have it.
You already know what it is. Shot City. Where you at? Yeah, boss.
Where did I grow up? I spent the majority of my youth in Elgin, Illinois. For those of you who don't know about Elgin, Elgin is a suburb of. Actually, I don't even think it's a suburb because it's like 40 miles away from Chicago. It's 40 miles west of Chicago. It's people call it the city in the suburbs. So there's been a lot of debate on whether Elgin is a suburb of Chicago or it's its own city. I mean, it's got a lot of influence from Chicago. You know, people who live there, you know, root for like Chicago sports teams like the Bears, the Bulls, the Blackhawks. All of them. You know, baseball wise, man, most of them root for the Cubs. Probably because Elgin is more north of Chicago than south. But there's some Sox fans there too. But anyway, Elgin's where I spent the majority of my youth. I lived there from when I was 7 to when I was 15. I spent my mid adolescence, late adolescence, and early adulthood in St. Charles. I lived in St. Charles for 8 years now, which is the amount of time I spent in Elgin. So now, as of this year, the amount of time I spent growing up in St. Charles is the equivalent of the time I spent growing up in Elgin. The only difference is, Elgin, I was there from when I was 7. I was still, like a little kid till when I was 15, in early adolescent. And then I moved to St. Charles, where I spent, where I spent the rest of my adolescence from when I was 15 to now, as a 23-year-old. So, yeah, but yeah, to answer your question, Elgin, for most of my youth, and then St. Charles for the second half of my adolescence and early adulthood. I spent a lot of my life in Chicago too, because my parents are divorced. My mom lives out here in the burbs. I live with we live together in Elgin and St. Charles now, and my dad has been staying in Chicago. So I visit him a lot. When I was a kid, he had partial custody of me, and I still go visit him in Chicago. So technically, I grew up in Chicago too, because I spent a lot of my time in Chicago when I wasn't in school. So I technically did reside in Chicago, because that was the address on my on like my transcripts at school. So yeah, so I can definitely say I grew up in Chicago, because like I said, I spent a lot of my time there, because my dad was always lived there. That's where he and my mom were living. When we first moved here from Virginia when I was 5, and then we were all living in Chicago. And then when they got divorced, my mom moved to the burbs, and my dad stays in Chicago. So I can definitely say I grew up in Chicago too. So in this case, it's safe to say I grew up in Chicago, Elgin, and St. Charles. So that answers that question.
I won't just follow down the street and be the next rapper from the sea, instead of staying here to cleave with these cowards that pick on me. Yeah, I was being called ugly by these guys that were bullies, because I was dumb with my scully and I didn't understand fully of what was going on in school, where I was thinking I was cool, but instead I was a fool who was treated like a tool.
Elgin. So like I said, there's been debate on whether Elgin is its own city or a suburb of Chicago, which is pretty much why they call it the city and the suburbs. If you ask me, I would say Elgin is its own city, because not to mention it's quite far from Chicago to be a suburb, but it's pretty different than Chicago. A lot of people I knew there were are similar to people I know in Chicago. But then again, it's Elgin's kind of got its own thing going on. Elgin's a pretty diverse city, just like Chicago. And just like Chicago, Elgin's are quite segregated too. They got they've got lower class and middle class residents living in certain neighborhoods, and like middle class to upper class residents living in other neighborhoods. So Elgin's a bit segregated too, just like Chicago. Of course, Chicago is I think might be known as the most segregated city in the country, but Elgin's pretty segregated too. You got rich white people living in certain parts, and then you got people of color that are not rich living in other parts. It's kind of sad, because it should be diverse. Everybody should be living together in harmony. Elgin doesn't really have racism, thankfully. There's never really any racism in Elgin. Most people of all colors get along. I actually lived in, believe it or not, I actually lived in the middle and lower class neighborhoods of Elgin, um, despite my color, which goes back to what I was saying about stereotyping and cultural appropriation being things that are irrelevant. Um, because when we first moved to Elgin, my mom and I we were kind of poor. My mom was a substitute teacher. Looking for looking for work as a full time teacher. So we were struggling a bit. Yeah, so we lived in some rough neighborhoods of Elgin. We actually only, we actually only lived in two neighborhoods of Elgin. The first one was really rough. There were shootings in the neighborhood. There were gangs. You know, all that. There were like break-ins. You know, like fights on the block all the time. All that crap. So it was a rough neighborhood. We lived in that neighborhood for about 4 years, and then we moved to another part of Elgin, which was low key safer. It wasn't that much safer. There were still gangs. There were still shootings. There were still robberies and all that. So Elgin, it's the part of Elgin we lived in was kind of rough. But of course, eventually we moved out. Of course, eventually we moved out of there into St. Charles. St. Charles, that's half the St. Over half of St. Charles is white suburbia. Where the rich white kids live. But anyway, going back to Elgin, I was the white kid in a Hispanic world. See, the majority race in Elgin is definitely Hispanic, because like I said before, it's it's very there's a lot of Latin culture there, which is part of how I got my last name. But of course, I'm not racist. I never have been racist, and I never will be racist. So that was never a problem with me. My mom educated me when I was a kid. About how racism is wrong. I would I got along with anybody. Regardless of their color. The color of people's skins. Never mattered to me. I treated them just like anyone else. And I guess some of them had a problem with my color, because white was pretty much the minority in part of Elgin I was living in. So man, yeah. So I guess people did have a problem with my color. I wasn't like the only white person in Elgin. There were plenty of other white kids there, but a lot of the other white kids, in my schools in Elgin, like a lot of them were very, very like quiet to themselves, probably because they were worried about standing out and like getting bullied, because like I said all over my records, I was a victim of bullying pretty much like my whole young life. And that wasn't just because of my color. In fact, that was mainly because of how different I was due to having autism. When you have autism, you have a distinct personality. So, and like, being different is like kind of how people get bullied. It's sad. So yes, I was getting bullied quite often in Elgin. And that was a big part of the reason we left, because I was getting bullied quite a bit, grade school, middle school, and high school. So I was I was viewing Elgin, very cynically. When I was there, when we moved to St. Charles, you heard me rap all over my music about how Elgin was so terrible. But you know what? I can't really blame them, because a lot of people in Elgin, they got their own struggles. Like I said, a lot of them are from lower and working class families, so they got their own struggles. they got their own they got their own situations going on in their lives. They live in dangerous neighborhoods. Neighborhoods that are full of drugs, gangs, and all that. So I can't so I can't really. And we were just kids. We were just kids. We were youth. We were in grade school. We were in middle school. Early high school. We were just kids. So like what did they know about the reality of the world? So really I can't blame them. So therefore it's easy for me to forgive everybody who bullied me in Elgin. So if you're one of the people I'm talking about, if you're from Elgin, if you attended the same school as me in Elgin, Huff Elementary, Ellis Middle School, Elgin High, and you were one of my bullies, just know this: I forgive you from the bottom of my heart. I forgive you, and I have a song on my album, The Stars of Spirit, called "I Forgive You," and I genuinely mean it, because really I can't blame you for treating me the way you did, because you had your own things going on in life, and you didn't know how to cope with it, so you took it out on other people. So so my point is, I forgive you. I probably shouldn't have dissed you the way I did on Route 58. That was not the best approach, but just know that I forgive you. People who are growing up in Elgin, they struggled, so therefore, I can't really blame them. So therefore, I'm not ashamed of growing up in Elgin.
If you tormented me and you wondering, yes, I forgive you. I continue holding things against you, that ain't my big issue anymore. I used to want revenge on every foe of mine so badly, like the motive of the tragedy at Columbine. I know what I'm.
St. Charles. Okay, so man, when I moved from Elgin to St. Charles, it felt like I was moving from Earth to Mars, because man, Elgin and St. Charles, they're just so different from each other. I mean they have some connections because at the time both of the high schools, East and North, were in the same conference as the two public high schools in Elgin. Elgin High School, where I went, in Larkin. So they have some kind of relationship. People from Elgin and St. Charles, some of them know each other, because, not to mention they're not too far from each other. But the schools, the public high schools, played against each other. They don't anymore. No, they switched conferences. But back then when I was going to Elgin High School and then St. Charles North, then we were in the same conference. So not to mention when I played football for North my sophomore year, and we played against Elgin. We played against Elgin for our homecoming game. It was I was playing against my old teammates, so it was quite an interesting experience playing with my former teammates on the other side of the ball in a game, because I played football for Elgin High, my freshman year there. So man, it was just quite an experience, and I was playing defensive end that year when I played for North. So I was like right on the line of scrimmage, right in front of my old peers from Elgin High. So and when we approached each other on the line of scrimmage, they noticed me right away. They were like, "Jonah," and man, it was quite something. But anyway, back to what St. Charles was like. So when we first moved to St. Charles, we lived on the north side, which is the rural side of St. Charles. This is like out in the country, the part of St. Charles full of country folks, where a lot of the hillbillies lived. So yeah, we were living out in the boondocks of St. Charles. I went to school with a lot of people in the boondocks, and a lot of the kids there, they were upper class. St. Charles was kind of an upper class city, but there's a lot of middle and mid upper class families there too. My family is typically been middle class. There's been points when it was working in lower class. But anyway, moving to St. Charles was like, from Elgin was like moving from Earth to Mars. Like I was like in a completely different environment, and there was like completely different people for me to meet, because I was going to a school full of privileged white kids. I was, and with me being white too, I kind of just blended in physically. I mean, I was definitely different than a lot of my peers there, because I was this urban kid, moving to a school in the boondocks. So it was kind of like Footloose. If any of you have ever seen any of the Footloose movies, whether it's the original one or the new one, you saw that it was a kid moving from in the original version, he moved from Chicago to a boondocksy town in Oklahoma, and in the new one he moved from Boston to that small town in Oklahoma. So that's kind of what it was like, coming from Elgin. And Elgin is the eighth largest city in Illinois, so it's pretty big, So it's definitely big enough. Elgin's big enough of a city, and St. Charles is small enough of a town, to say that it's very similar to Footloose. So yeah, I was this urban kid, in a school full of country folks, living around country folks. So that was my first 2 years living in St. Charles, and then about two years later, my mom and I, of course, my two little siblings too, we moved to like the middle part of St. Charles, like the central part of it. This was when we were getting away from my then abusive stepfather, because I had to deal with his crap for 10 years of my life, and this was when we got away from him, moving to the center of St. Charles, the part of St. Charles that's like right in downtown. We were like living right in downtown, and then in fact we were actually in the attendance area of East High School, so I could have transferred to East, but the district decided it would be most practical for me to stay at North and finish high school at North, because I was a junior at the time. It was March. It was March of the school year, and I was a junior at North, and yeah, they decided it would be most practical for me to finish off high school where I was in high school, just finish off high school at North, and despite where I live, of course, then my situation that got me into alternative school happened. So then I went to Summit, the alternative school in Elgin, because I got into that bull crap that I was getting into, after I started rapping. That was a down, one of the down parts of St. Charles, is that this was where I started rapping. I was 16. I was living in St. Charles, and I was this white boy at a white school rapping, and like that was like making me stand out quite a bit. Standing out to the point where I was like getting picked on by kids, and then it was provoking me, like to getting into conflicts with them. That was getting me in trouble. So then I ended up going to Summit. Summit School in Elgin, which was a great area school. It had its problems. It had its good stuff. But going back to St. Charles. Think about. So here's the main difference between St. Charles and Elgin. Elgin is ethnically diverse but culturally homogeneous, whereas St. Charles is ethnically homogeneous but culturally diverse. St. Charles is, for the most part, a pretty accepting city. They accept like all different kinds of cultures. And to be honest, there wasn't too many people at my school that were picking on me over being a white rapper at a white school. I mean, of course, then again, I was autistic, so I was different, I stood out, And that's usually how people get picked on, which is standing out. My first year in St. Charles, my first year at St. Charles North. I knew I was different, so I tried to use that to my advantage, and I was just like, if you like me, then cool, let's be friends. If you don't like me, then oh well. So I made some friends there. I had true friends there. And I even had some relationships there. I even had some romance there with some lovely ladies, and not to mention I was the manager of the girls varsity basketball team my sophomore year after I tried out for the basketball team at North and got cut. Man, and when I got cut, that kind of got me down quite a bit. But something I had to understand is that it was a tough tryout. There was like over 30 kids trying out, and only 15 made the team. And I kind of had a weakness because I was new at the school, so the coach didn't know me as well as he knew all the other players. So I can't really blame the coach for picking other players over me. So and football, man, football was kind of rough too. Because my coaches were jerks. They weren't really giving me a chance to build my skills as a football player. I mean, I understand that they didn't know me quite well, but they got to give me a chance. They knew I came from Elgin, but they got to give me a chance. Which goes back to what I was saying about how stereotyping and cultural appropriation is wrong, because you can't just assume somebody is a certain way just because they're from a certain place or background. You got to give them a chance to show you the good in them. So the coaches weren't doing that. In fact, and I know they know that I was in special education, because when I was given a speech, when I was giving a brief speech and a pep talk to my team about Elgin the week we were playing them, they weren't even letting me talk for long. And this is what they did. Get this. They went to my who do you call my caseworker, my caseworker for my classes. My coaches went to my caseworker for my special ed classes to complain about me giving a speech and a pep talk about playing against Elgin that was too long. And when it wasn't even that long. That was very screwed up. Not to mention that these were my coaches of an extracurricular activity talking to my teacher who's in charge of my education, and not what happens in my extracurricular activities. So anyway, I've had my ups and downs in St. Charles, but overall, St. Charles is a really good town. It's not perfect, just like every other place in the world. But I just had to be optimistic and just appreciate the good in St. Charles and not dwell on its bad parts. Same thing in Elgin. I was my mom was teaching at North. So for a couple of years I was going to the same school she was teaching at. I was going to Elgin High. She was teaching at North, and I was kind of jealous of where my mom taught. I kind of wanted to go there too, because I was getting bullied a lot at Elgin High, and Elgin High is a school. It sucked, because I was a social outcast. Not many people were interested in talking to me. I had true friends, and I had some good parts of Elgin. So at one point, I was just screw it, and just had to make the most of what I had at Elgin, and just appreciate what I had, all the good things I had, and not look at what I don't have. So at one point, I was decided to make the most of what I had at Elgin. But this was when my mom, got us moving to St. Charles. We found a house there, and then we were moving there. So at that point, I was like, all right, moving to St. Charles. We're gonna have a whole new lifestyle. You know, it's gonna be quite something. You know, I got there. You know, in the first year, you know, it was nice because, you know, I got away from Elgin. I got away from all the bullies, and the bullies were trying to get at me on social media since they couldn't get to me at school. It was kind of funny. They were like, "Oh, we can't bully Jonah at school anymore since he moved and transferred schools. So let's go get him on Facebook. Let's go get him on Instagram." That's kind of how it was. So I was just like, man, screw that. Man, they're not going to get to me now. I'm like Elliot Ness. I'm untouchable. But then, you know, the next year at North, you know, it was kind of, you know, it kind of sucked because then I started rapping, and you know, people had a problem with that. You know, teachers had a problem with that. Kids had a problem with that. You know, because they're not used to hip hop being in St. Charles. Because St. Charles ain't really a hip hop city. Because, you know, like I said, it's full of country folks, and actually quite a lot of metalheads too. So, and you know, I like, you know, like I said before, I like those genres too. But, you know, hip hop's my number one. So yeah. Like I said, St. Charles, it's a nice small town. You know, it has its good sides to it. It's had some bad sides to it. But, you know, I just embrace it and just you know, look at the positive parts of it, and you know, forget about the bad parts of it.
Yeah, I live in St. Charles, I put on for the east side. Haters wanna hate, but that's my squad, we never seize pride. Don't tell me I can't claim Chi-Town, I live on the west side. Till you know my best pride will manifest and stretch wide.
That goes back to what I was saying about how, with my mom and dad being divorced, and you know, my mom living out in the burbs and my dad living in Chicago, you know, is what gave me you know, residency in Elgin, and then St. Charles, and Chicago. You know, and my dad, you know, you know, he's lived all over Chicago. He's had apartments all over the city. I mean, when I was 15, he was able to find a house in the Old Irving Park neighborhood, which is a pretty safe neighborhood. It's on the northwest side. That's where he lives to this day, and that's generally a safe neighborhood. I mean, it has some petty crimes, you know, here and there, but it's a safe neighborhood for the most part. Yeah, I mean, my dad and I have lived in some you know, rough parts of Chicago. In fact, we lived in one neighborhood of Chicago on the west side, Wicker Park. I think that's what it was called, Wicker Park. Yeah, that was a rough neighborhood because my dad actually had his car broken into and his laptop stolen, and my neighbor had his apartment broken into and his video game stolen. So that was quite a rough neighborhood. It was, man, it was chaotic. But anyway, you know, my dad, he's lived all over the west side of Chicago. Some neighborhoods were rough, some were not so rough, and yeah. So the mere fact that he lives on the west side, even though it's technically the northwest side, kind of gives me the right to claim the west side of Chicago as where I live and where I came from. I mean, in that song, Chicago, in my anthem for Chicago, you know, the song called Chicago. I was able, you know, of course, I was able to rhyme, you know, West Side with, you know, Best Pride. What else? That album came out so long ago. It's hard for me to remember by heart. But yeah, I mean, there's so many words and phrases you can rhyme West Side with. So, in fact, they don't even have to be perfect rhymes. You know, you can be creative and come up with slant rhymes. But anyway. I could have said Northwest Side, you know, to be more clear, but technically, nah, that's the West Side. Old Irving Park, Wicker Park. We lived in Logan Square for a while too. And that's definitely the West Side. So yeah. Anyway, to answer the question, yeah, I technically did live on the West Side. You know, with my dad and my stepmom and their three kids, my half siblings, and at the same time, you know, Elgin and then St. Charles. I told you that I grew up in just about all three of those those cities. Those are those are the cities that made me who I am. So to answer your question, like I was kind of just saying, yeah, I technically live on the west side of Chicago and Elgin and St. Charles. But the mere fact that my parents were divorced, I had my dad living in Chicago and my mom living in the burbs is what gave me the right to claim both of those cities, or all three cities, if you may.
Welcome to North, this is where we come forth. We are the North Stars, and we zoom like race cars. We represent the blue, we represent the black, and we represent the silver. So always be our crew, we never will lack, and we don't even have to pilfer. We represent St. Charles, and we shine like pearls. It'll always be our home, it'll be our place to roam. We are North.
Well, remember before I was saying that after 2 years of living on the north side, my mom, my siblings, and I moved to the middle part of St. Charles, like the downtown area. We lived there for about 2 years. We moved to the east side of St. Charles. Like we moved further east in St. Charles when our lease was up. That's one part of the reason I was claiming the east side, because we were living on the east side. And I told you about how we lived on the north side, and I went to North High School and finished high school at North, even after moving out of North's attendance area. Another part of the reason I claimed the east side is because I mentioned that my mom was teaching at North High School while I was going there. After my junior year of high school, of which I finished at Summit, I went from North to Summit in April of, I think it was either April or May of my junior year of high school. But in the meantime, my mom was applying for a teaching position at East High School. And she got hired. She became a teacher at East, and is now an instructional coach at East. So I was volunteering a lot with events that she had going on there. Like she was, for instance, she was the assistant coach of their speech team. So I was volunteering with them, helping kids with their with their speeches for the competitions. So anyway, I was getting involved in a lot of things with East High School, which kind of gave me allegiance to the East Side. In fact, if you remember my album Autistically Dope, there's a song in there called "Here's to All the Saints" that I actually even released as a single, and had a student of East High School sing on there. She at the time she was a senior at East, Margaret Bronek. She sang the fight song for East High School. While I rapped verses that I wrote, pretty much praising East High School the same way I did on my song "Welcome to SEN," which was my anthem for North High School, that was on the Route 58 album. I dropped that as a single my early junior year at North. So I was really like kind of like pledging allegiance to like all of St. Charles, considering that I made an anthem for North and I made an anthem for East. So man, that's actually part of how I got my last name. Because I'll tell you right now, the Santana part of my name came from my Elgin roots and St. Charles roots, because Santana in Spanish is saint-like. So that gave me the idea of using it, to reflect my roots of coming from Elgin. Which is a town, with a lot of with a lot of Latin culture, like I said before, Elgin's a town, um, with that comprises a lot of Latin Americans. I think mainly Mexican. Yeah, there's a lot. Yes, yeah, there's a lot of people who are Mexican in Elgin. But anyway, so that's how I got my last name. I mixed my Elgin roots with my St. Charles roots, and the Elgin roots with the Latin culture there, and St. Charles, the Saint part, St. Charles in Spanish is or I'm sorry, Santana in Spanish is saint-like, so I was able to like mix up my St. Charles and Elgin roots, and then voila, Santana. And then the Jaylin part, came from J being the first letter of my first name, Jonah, and then the L-I-N being the first three letters of my middle name, Lindsay, and boom, Jaylin. But back to your question. Yeah, so yeah, my inner pride goes to St. Charles North High School, because that's my alma mater. That's where I graduated. I never went to East High School. Even though I was like rapping about it as our school, in the song, "Here's to All the Saints." But yes, there you have it. My inner pride goes to North. Go North Stars. If it's ever North versus East, yeah, I'm always rooting for North. But if it's East playing any other team, I'll root for East. Simply because they're St. Charles, and that's where my mom teaches, and I helped her out with some events there. So yeah, so that's why I claimed the East Side, even though I lived on the North Side and graduated from North High School. Okay, the short answer to that question is because of what society has come to. I guess the first way I can put this is because I feel like as time goes on, profanity becomes less powerful. Cuss words such as the F word, the S word, the B word, and all that. I feel like they start to they've been like losing their power, as time goes on. I mean, those are still words that like people take as aggressive or like abusive language, when it's still cultural taboos. But yeah, that's one reason I decided to lay back on that. Another reason, going back to what I was saying about what society has come to, I wasn't cussing on those tracks, to try to be tough, like what a lot of other rappers do. I was doing it to make a statement. Those two songs you're referring to, Robin Hood and Cop Blocked. Robin Hood, that's a protest song. About all the issues with Donald Trump and his supporters, being as ignorant and cruel as they were and are. It's very safe to say that they are the reason why we're in this COVID pandemic, because Trump saw it coming, and he ignored it and dismissed it as a hoax. See, and I know it's Trump's fault because back when we had the Ebola pandemic and the H1N1 pandemic in 2014 and 2009, Obama was our president, and he had a pandemic team, go after those two diseases, and that's why it didn't become the pandemic that COVID is now. In fact, in fact, thanks to Obama and his pandemic team, I barely even remember H1N1 and Ebola. Anyway, so that's why it is Trump's fault that we had the COVID-19 pandemic. So I was really angry with Trump for for all his corruption, and with the not just the COVID pandemic, but for threatening nuclear war, attacking peaceful protesters. What else? Calling dead people who were in the military losers and suckers. Trying to get Ukraine to to interfere with our elections. All this stuff going on in with the government here in America. Like it was driving me crazy. So I felt something needed to be said. And I was also taught by my mom, who a lot of you know is Emma Zeke. She who sang on most of the Stars of Spirit album. She even taught me about being an ally. Using your white privilege to help people of color get out of situations of racism when they're in a position of being the victims of systemic racism. I was just angry with all these white supremacists, the kind of people who support Trump, and what Trump is doing everything they do. You heard me say on Make America Dope Again, from the Autistically Dope II album. You heard me comment about about what white folks were saying about Jennifer Lopez and Shakira's performance at the Super Bowl halftime show when it was the Chiefs versus the 49ers. They were kind of like stripping and doing like dances that that people would find sexually attractive. White folks were were the only kind of people that were complaining about it. Saying it was inappropriate. It's no coincidence that white folks were the only kind of people that were complaining about that. Because there were rarely any if any at all people of color complained about that. And not to mention, they weren't complaining about Adam Levine doing the same thing, with Maroon 5 the previous year. So clearly, people complaining about Jennifer Lopez and Shakira's performance are being racist and misogynistic. So anyway, there was all this corruption going on, and in society, and I felt something needed to be said about it. So. I use some profanity to make a statement. I will be honest. Admit to going back on what I was saying on my song "Autistic Ambition" about how I'm not gonna fall back into that again. But then again, like I said before, as time goes on, cuss words start to lose their power. So I felt like who cares? Who cares? Especially if you need to get something off your chest, by all means go for it, because cuss words, they become less of a big deal, as time goes on. In fact, I won't be surprised if 50 years from now they become nothing. Like they're like if you say the F word, the S word, and it's like who cares? Who cares? So. And anyway, I was just making a statement with those songs, Robin Hood and Cop Blocked. Cop Blocked is pretty obvious what I was the statement I was trying to make there. I was touching on police brutality. This was in the wake of the George Floyd case. I was kind of going NWA on the cops. Telling them leave us alone, stop being racist, stop harassing people who are not guilty of crimes, Because see, I've been harassed by the cops a lot, for simply, being young and like kind of just like living my life. For instance, I got harassed by when I was 18. I got harassed by cops for stargazing out in this nice park in St. Charles where it was a nice view of the stars. But little did I know that the park was closed, and the cops harassing me, thinking I was on drugs. And man, I barely got out of that, without getting in any kind of legal trouble. And then I got harassed for riding on my bike home from the studio. This was when I was recording the Stars of Spirit. I was at a late night studio session, and I was riding back to our St. Charles home from Aurora. I was recording this album in Aurora at Gremlin Studios. And I was riding back late at night, and I had my front light on, which was the law in Illinois. And the law is you gotta have a front light on the front on your bike, and you gotta have a reflector on your back. And I had this reflector on my back. It wasn't that big, but I had it. And the cop pulled me over, saying that I needed the backlight, and like he was kind of like messing with me, kind of just being a jerk. So yeah, that's. There you have it. Felt like I needed to express myself. And that's what music is about. It's about expressing yourselves. People point fingers at groups like NWA for inciting violence. Inciting chaos, and then they tell them that this is that their art is a reflection of their reality. That's how it is in my case. My art is a reflection of my reality. My art. I rap about my own life. I'm not gonna be fake and rap about something I don't about some a life that I don't live. I mean, I might exaggerate here and there just to make it interesting. But something I learned throughout my rap career is that it's okay to exaggerate once in a while, just as long as you're not being fake, as long as you're not like lying about anything. So I exaggerate, sometimes, but other than that, I tell it how it is. I rap about my own life. I'm not gonna be like Slim Jesus and rap about life that I don't actually live. Like I'm not just gonna like rap about a life that I don't live just to make dope music. I'm gonna like rap about my own life, but of course keep it interesting. Keep it interesting. Keep using clever rhymes and wordplay. To make the music dope. But yeah, no, just had to express myself. Get that off my chest.
White folks are respect like they deserve it for free. Well, they ain't earned it from me, cause they just yearning to be the kings and queens of everything. That's how conservatives see. They selfly sensitive to change like they allergic and flee away from modernism. Them folks more old-fashioned than a pharaoh. Nonetheless, I try to be. They homies, they don't care though. They just want to narrow. They hate how I swear so often, though it's natural. They yell, hey, but I'm no scarecrow.
So that question goes back to what I was saying about my anger with Donald Trump and his allies. Politics is a subject that I try to avoid at all costs, because we all know that the subject of politics can get real ugly real fast. Which is why I try to avoid it. Which is why I decided not to be what you would call a political rapper, like. Which is why I decided not to preach about political topics, like some rappers do, like Common, Immortal Technique, and Lupe Fiasco. Lupe Fiasco has been one of my favorite rappers, not because of his political lyrics, but because of his positivity and his optimism. Politics. That's something I try not to get into. But this. What we had going on. Throughout 2020 at the time. I was writing, recording, and producing Autistically Dope II. There was a lot going on in politics. We had the presidential election underway. With with Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, winning the Democratic nomination and going up against Trump and Pence. And I was on my knees praying to God all the time for Joe Biden and Kamala Harris to win. And then I was thanking God like you wouldn't believe. When they won. I even had my birthday cake because my birthday is on November 8th. The day after Joe Biden and Kamala Harris got elected for president and vice president. We even had a very patriotic cake that said 46. Joe Biden and Kamala. Joe Biden and Kamala Harris's number 46. On their cake. Saying "Build Back Better." But anyways, there was a lot going on with politics at the time, and I felt like there were things that needed to be said about it that were unsaid. So I let it all out. I was pretty hooked on politics at the time. I've been a strong supporter for the Democratic Party. In fact, I was even volunteering for the Democratic Party. I was doing some phone banking for Joe Biden and Kamala Harris's campaign. I was doing phone calls in swing states like Florida, Nevada, Pennsylvania, Michigan, Minnesota, Georgia. And after Joe Biden and Kamala Harris's election, I was doing phone banking for the Senate runoff races, campaigning for Raphael Warnock and John Ossoff. I was calling, I was talking to a lot of voters in Georgia, about same thing I was talking about people in the other swing states about, getting to the polls, getting their mail-in ballots in. So anyway, there was a lot. So to answer your question, I had some, I had some things to get off my chest about what's going on in America's political system, and I'll be honest and say that I was pretty far left at the time. You heard me say on my song "Refuse to Lose." If you don't know by now, I'm a left extremist. Best believe this. I was able to rhyme a lot with left extremist, but I felt I did feel pretty extreme because on the left side, because Trump and his allies, they're clearly right extremists. So I figured if they're going to be right extremists, someone needs to put them in their place. So that's why I felt like being a left extremist is how I what's the word I'm looking for? Oppose them. So I was like doing everything I can as an American citizen to get the word out that this person is not worthy of being our president, and his allies need to learn a lesson. So music is a great way of getting out to people. It's an outlet. It's a great way of reaching out to people. So I figured something about America's political system has some things that are unsaid that need to be said. Why not do it through music? So I try not to rap about politics too much on the album because like I said earlier, I wanted Autistically Dope II to be a sequel of Autistically Dope, the first one. So I try not to rap about politics too much, but I know I had some lyrics that came off as far left. But I was really just trying to kind of like get the message out there, that Joe Biden deserves to be our president, and Kamala Harris deserves to be our vice president, and obviously it's proven now because Joe Biden is our president and Kamala Harris is our vice president. Oh man, thanks be to God. That's my explanation for that.
What's the best in you? I know discriminating is wrong, and so is prejudice, it's awful, I ain't making it strong. Instead I find the good in everyone I meet, cause optimism's how I run my street. Let's find out what's the best in you. We gotta find the best in others, and understand that first impression they detest its covers are biased. Cause if you judge them by the cover, at heart you won't know what's inside and under. Let's find out what's the best in you.
Yes, I guess you could say that, all over Autistically Dope II. I was, I rapped some lyrics that, came off as like, going against Republicans in general. I mean, the truth be told, a lot. I mean, I don't want to contradict what I said about stereotyping and cultural appropriation. So I'm just gonna put it like this: there are a lot of Republicans that are very stuffy, self-righteous, closed-minded, hypocritical, judgmental, imperious. They like to be very controlling. They're always like, it's my way or the highway. I'm right and you're wrong. There are a lot of Republicans that are like that, but there are some Republicans that are not like that. So I can't just, I can't just like, meet a Republican and just automatically assume that they're going to be, stuffy, judgmental, and all that. Because I know there are Republicans that are not like that. Not to mention, we've had a lot of Republicans that voted for the Biden-Harris ticket. We've had a lot of Republicans, endorse Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, like the Bushes, Mitt Romney, John McCain's widow, Cindy McCain. Who else? A lot of them. Quite a lot of them. We've had a lot of Republicans, endorse and vote for them, which I thank them for. If you're a Republican for Biden and you're watching this, I thank you deeply from the bottom of my heart for endorsing and voting for their campaign, which is part of how I think Joe Biden and Kamala Harris won Arizona and Georgia, because Arizona and Georgia, those are usually Republican states. Their governors are Republicans, so I was pretty amazed to see that they went blue for the first time since the 90s. Anyway, so to address that, I'm definitely not against all Republicans. I'm only against the Republicans that are stuffy, judgmental, narrow-minded and all that, because people like that are just not fun. People like that, are just like party poopers. They just have such bad vibes. You know what I'm saying? I know there are Democrats that are like that too. I mean, not many, but I wouldn't be surprised if there are some Democrats that are like that too. I've yet to meet a Democrat that's really like that. To answer your question, yes, my anti-Republican lyrics do contradict what I said on "What's the Best in You," in that song from the Stars of Spirit album. But at the time I was writing Autistically Dope II, that's when I was having like my far left beliefs, But who inspired me to what like guided me away from my far left beliefs is Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, because Joe Biden, he's a bit center left, his presidency, is described as a presidency for all Americans, for a reason, because Joe Biden, he gets along with everybody of every party, he's a Democrat, but he gets along with Republicans, libertarians, the Green Party, independents, everybody, it's a presidency for all Americans for a reason, and that's why he got voted for in all the swing states that he needed to win. Of course, in addition to the blue states and the the generally red states, Georgia and Arizona. But something Joe Biden said, in his victory speech, is that he doesn't see blue and red states. He sees he sees the United States. It all makes sense. So yes, yeah, I have to thank Joe Biden for guiding, and Kamala Harris for guiding me away from my far left beliefs. Yes, because by the time the election was coming up, I was like, you know what, I'm done. I don't want to be a left extremist anymore. I just want to be an American citizen. Entitled to my own beliefs. I just want the best for America, because I am very patriotic. I mean, look at my shirt. It's Nancy Pelosi. With saying truth matters. If you can't see it from where you are, it says truth matters. She's ripping up Donald Trump's speech, in which he lied. So the bottom line is, I'm not against all Republicans. Just the ones that are stuffy, judgmental, and narrow-minded, because they just have such bad vibes. They're party poopers, and they just need to lighten up. Cut loose. And just learn to accept people for who they are, and just find the best in people, which goes back to the meaning of that song. What's the best in you? Finding the best in people. And stop looking at their dark sides so much. I mean, there comes to a part where finding the best in people, goes to a line, to negative influences, which is stated in my song on that same album, Positive Influences, in which I mentioned that you want to find the best in people, but if it crosses the line to negative influences, that's when you got to step back and focus on positive influences. So yeah, I'm not against all Republicans. I know it seemed that way on Autistically Dope II, but nah, truth be told, I know there are Republicans that are genuinely wonderful people. There's just, unfortunately, there's a lot of them that are just narrow-minded, stuffy and all that, and it's sad.
Shout aloud, shout to Mars, let them know this victory's ours. Jump up high, touch the stars, show the world this victory's ours. Ballin' hard like Kobe, we'll win every trophy. Haters talk below me, saying we suck so weak. Shout it loud, shout to Mars, let them know this victory's ours. Jump up high, touch the stars, show the world this victory's ours.
My goodness, where do I start? Oh man, I was celebrating like you wouldn't believe. My family and I, we were celebrating like crazy, man. And I remember I found this out after work on that day, November 7th, when Joe Biden and Kamala Harris won Pennsylvania, thus winning the election. I remember I was working at my hotel job that day as a bellman, and then when I was off the clock, I got to my phone, picked it up and saw, got the alert that Joe Biden won the state of Pennsylvania, thus winning the election, getting over 270 and winning the election. And I was just like, oh my goodness, thank you, Lord Jesus. You have blessed not just America, but the whole world. Man, I almost wanted to cry. I was crying tears of joy. I even went up to my colleague and was like, dude, guess what? America is going to have a new president and vice president on January 20th. Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. Man, I'm so happy. I'm about to cry. Man, it was I loved it. I loved it so much. It's what I've been praying for all year long. Oh man, and then I went up to my mom and my stepdad at the time. Not the abusive one. No, the abusive one. He's been out of my life for over 6 years now, thankfully. So Yeah, not him. There's this is a different stepdad. Yeah, I went up to him and my mom, and we were like, "Woo! Biden Harris, baby! Biden Harris win the election! Woo!" Of course we try not to be too loud because St. Charles does have some Trump supporters. There have been Trump car rallies, on Main Street in St. Charles and on Route 38 in Geneva. So we didn't want to be so loud that they were gonna call the cops and complain about us being too loud and like disturbing the peace. So, but we celebrated like crazy. Like I said, that was the day before my birthday, and we made an ice cream cake, a very, very patriotic one that said "Build Back Better" 46. We celebrated like crazy. If it weren't for COVID, we would have had the most lit party we've ever had. Maybe even Project X times 1,000. But because of COVID, we had to keep it small. But hey, it's all good. In fact, I actually think COVID pandemic is one of the reasons Joe Biden and Kamala Harris won, because they were the ones that were taking it seriously. See, Trump, Pence, and all of their supporters, they were not taking COVID seriously at all. In fact, just before the election, I remember they had this huge rally in Grand Rapids at the Van Andel Arena. It was over 10,000 people who were not wearing masks and were not social distancing, and I was appalled because Michigan has a Democratic governor, Gretchen Whitmer, who set CDC guidelines, for social distancing and wearing masks, and they were not following those rules, which is really funny because a lot of Republicans think of Democrats as more of a crime syndicate than a political party. You're having rallies in big arenas where you're not social distancing and wearing masks, even though the state laws are to wear masks and socially distance, and you're not doing that at all, and you're saying we're the crime syndicate? Man, get the hell out of here. Get the hell out of here with that crap, man. But anyway, going back to the Biden-Harris victory, it was one of the biggest blessings that has ever happened in my life, and I know it's one of the biggest blessings that America has ever had, one of the biggest blessings that the world has ever had, because I know that presidents of other countries were very thrilled with their victory. I know New Zealand's prime minister was thrilled. I know England's prime minister was happy with us. Yeah, I know presidents of plenty of other countries. They were very happy with them winning. In fact, I'm sure the only countries that weren't thrilled with it was Russia and North Korea, because they're friends with Trump. But man, screw that, because they're Vladimir Putin and Kim Jong-un, they're dictators just like what Trump wants to be. So, and anyway, it was a huge celebration, one of the biggest blessings to happen in my life, and I know it's the biggest blessing that has happened in America since the abolishment of slavery, and since the abolishment of slavery, maybe even since the day we got independent. The 13 colonies got independence from Great Britain. So it's a huge celebration, and I'm thankful to God for that victory every day.
I be with the homies chillin' on the block, smoking hella cushion, sipping private stock. Real G's know we keep that gangster tip on lock. With the gang, I'm posted up, we on the block.
Good question. So I mentioned earlier that distinct difference between the both Autistically Dope albums, the first and the second, a distinct difference between them and the Stars of Spirit, was that, on the Stars of Spirit, I was a lot more personal about my stories. I was rapping about like specific details of my life. Like I was rapping about like the like the when, the where, the who, the what, and the how, like kind of like answering those parts of the question. But when I say I was very specific on the stars of spirit, like I was actually talking about like where and like when everything took place. Like I was saying, like it took place in 2012 at Elgin High School, 2013 at St. Charles North High School, and like saying, and I'll be honest, even though I was backing away from this on Autistically Dope, you know, I was kind of like calling out names, kind of like what I did on Route 58. I was I was calling out names of the people who bullied me, which is funny because you know, I mentioned earlier that there was a song on the Stars of Spirit called "I Forgive You," you know, which is like saying, you know, which is like letting everybody who bullied me, you know, victimized me and all that, know that I forgive them. So man, now that I think about it, it kind of sounds like a contradiction, but yeah. So the Stars of Spirit album, you know, was very personal. You know, my stories were like, you know, so much about my personal life that people couldn't really relate to them. I mean, I was rapping about subjects that people could relate to, you know, such as, you know, relationship troubles, you know, going through breakups, going through rejects, you know, getting bullied, what else? Getting abused by a step parent. You know, those are things that, you know, plenty of other people have been through. But see, what I messed up on the Stars of Spirit is that I should have rapped about, you know, like how I felt instead of like the who, when, what, where, and why. See, something I've noticed when I listen to rappers who, like, you know, rap about, you know, serious subjects, you know, like abuse, bullying, you know, breakups, you know, romance troubles, you know, problems with significant others. They rap about how they felt. You know, they rap about like what was going on, you know, in their minds, like what they were feeling, and they were even using, you know, good wordplay and, you know, rhyme schemes. And I mean, my rhymes were, you know, were good. I used a lot of multi-syllabic rhymes, but I didn't have much wordplay. You know, I was kind of just being a narrator, you know, like telling the stories, which is okay in certain circumstances. You know, like I said, you know, there have been plenty of rappers that, you know, that have been narrators, like Ice Cube, or like Lupe Fiasco, in Common. But anyway, when you're talking about, you know, personal things in your rap music, you got to talk about how you feel, and not so much about the specific details. So that's where I messed up on the Stars of Spirit. So because of the Stars of Spirit not being as big of a hit as Autistically Dope, you know, due to you know, what I was saying about, you know, being too specific, you know, I decided to, like, you know, cut loose on my lyrical content, and I decided to you know, rap about, you know, subjects that, you know, people can relate to, you know. Which goes back to what I was saying about, you know, sticking to the concept of Autistically Dope. You know, because a lot of people related to Autistically Dope. You know, I was rapping about all kinds of things that people could relate to. So it goes right back to what I was saying about Autistically Dope being more relatable than the Stars of Spirit. Which also goes back to what I was saying about keeping up the same concept of Autistically Dope for my next album, the fourth album after the Stars of Spirit. So yeah, so that's when I decided to start rapping about, things that people can relate to, like the party life. Yeah, it was a lot about the party life. I was rapping about dancing, and I was also rapping a lot about, like, winning competitions, and occasionally politics. Just a lot of more things that people can relate to. So I kind of like changed the style up a bit, but like not really like changed the style up, but kind of just like backtracked with my style, like like going back to where I was on Autistically Dope, and just kind of like making a sequel after Autistically Dope, kind of like making it a saga, like Autistically Dope I, Autistically Dope II. So anyway, I was pretty much just like kind of like backtracking to Autistically Dope, and writing about parties, and motivation, songs with positive messages, about believing in oneself. I had a very emotional ballad on Autistically Dope II called "Unforgotten Souls" that my mom sang the chorus to, because my grandma died on I think it was June 20th, 2020. She died, and then I wrote that song about how precious life is, and how no human is immortal. Eventually we're all gonna die, go to heaven and live there eternally. So anyway, so the bottom line is, I backtracked, to Autistically Dope, and decided to just keep it moving, with the concept of Autistically Dope.
It's a house party, time to throw a house party. If you wanna get down with us, you gon' have to shout hardly. Tonight it's a house party, step up to the house party. If you like to get turned up, then your time is right now, smarty. Welcome to the house party, homie, it's a house party. We all run it, it's gon' go down, you'll be seeing how gnarly we get at this house party. Right now it's a house party.
That is a very good question. Man, how do I start? I guess the best way to start this out would be, I've lived, quite a lifestyle, as a young adult, and as a teenager. Thing is, when I was a teenager, while the abusive stepfather I had was in my life, I lived under a roof with with strict parents, that worst excuse for a stepdad was tricking my mom into being strict on me. So I was living in a strict household where I couldn't do anything. Like I couldn't go to parties, couldn't go to fun things with my friends, none of that. So, but then once that jerk was out of my life. In fact, I remember the day my mom removed him from our lives. In fact, I remember that day because it's my personal Independence Day, February 25th, 2015. After that, I had my freedom, and I was able to do more fun things with my friends, and I've always been like the kind of like a party boy, going to parties, having fun. I wasn't like, at first, like I wasn't being stupid, I was thinking about my future, I wasn't like, getting passed out drunk in a ditch, or getting higher than the Willis Tower. In fact, I didn't smoke my first joint of weed till I was 18. In fact, yeah, 18 was when I started smoking weed. I lived I lived like quite the party life. I was going as an older adolescent and as a young adult. I was going to Six Flags a lot with my friends. My friends and I were smoking bud in the car. And I even drank quite a bit. Before I turned 21. I don't want to. I know it kind of sounds like I'm incriminating myself on here, but when I was 20 years old, this happened. This happened when I was 20. I was with my homie in Chicago. We were at an L station. Those subway trains that they got in Chicago. We were at a subway station there, and we had those little bottles of vodka. We were drinking them there. But little did we know that the cops were right behind us. They caught us red-handed and gave my homie and I $300 citations. I got so terribly drunk that night. Because my homie kept giving me bottles of beer to drink, and I felt pressure to drink them. I didn't have anything to eat that night. I wasn't like drinking water in between, like I should have, because I learned that eating and drinking water in between each drink is what keeps you from getting drunk. But I was like passed out drunk in a ditch that night. I passed out at my homie's house on the south side of Chicago. He lived in Chatham. I wasn't even planning on staying at his house. I was planning on going home that night to our house in St. Charles. I was planning on taking the metro back to Geneva and getting back to my St. Charles house. But anyway, to answer your question, yeah, I've been living the party life. I've been rapping like very provocative lyrics like the type you hear from gangster rappers. Mainly because like I kind of because going back to growing up in Elgin, I grew up around all that. I grew up around some pretty serious crimes in Elgin. Like robberies, drugs. Elgin has had a heroin pandemic. There's a lot of heroin dealers out there. I don't know if they're still there. Back when I was living there, there was a lot of heroin sales going on. But So a lot of that is kind of like a reflection of my reality in Elgin. Growing up around all that. I'll be honest and say I wasn't really involved in that life myself. Like, I thought about my future. Like I wasn't exactly being stupid. Even when I was a kid, wilding out in the streets, like I thought about my future and I thought about the consequences of my actions. So like I wasn't really being like stupid. Like I was kind of just like growing up around all that. I was kind of like Ice Cube in a way, because I'm a big fan of NWA. I've watched Straight Outta Compton numerous times, and Ice Cube never really got into any like legal trouble. He's been jacked by the cops, just like I have. Ice Cube, he got jacked, just because he looks like a gangster to the cops. But like, Ice Cube, he's kind of like a narrator when he raps. He just raps about what's like going on in the hood. What's going on where he grew up. Like he wasn't really getting involved in that. So that's kind of what I was trying to do with my music. I was like, which goes back to what I was saying about rapping about my life and not like really trying to make things up. I kind of like exaggerated about things here and there, like kind of just to like add some pizzazz. Because like I said earlier, it's okay to exaggerate. If your life gets too boring to rap about, or if you run out of things to rap about, it's okay to exaggerate here and there. So like I'll be honest, I exaggerated about some things, but for the most part, just like with NWA, with their provocative lyrics, their art is is a reflection of their reality. It's the same principles apply with me. it's like, it's about the party life that I live, and it comes off as is what you would hear from gangster rappers. And also something to keep in mind is I come from Chicago. I grew up in Chicago. I grew up all around Chicago. With my dad and my stepmom. Chicago. They got their drill scene. On the South Side. They got rappers who started drill music. Like Chief Keef. Young Chop. Lil Reese and Lil Durk. They were they became like. They turned their wicked street life into a new form of hip hop, and I was actually like listening to drill music quite a bit, growing up, just cause it was Chicago's subgenre of hip hop. And I was kind of inspired by that, but I didn't want to rap about like guns or violence too much, because I'm not a violent person. Most people know that I'm not a violent person. I don't tote guns. I don't catch bodies or any of that. I don't really fight either. People who know me know that I'm not a violent person. I mean, if someone tries to buck on me, of course, I'm going to defend myself and fight back. I'm not just gonna stand there and let someone buck on me. But I'm not gonna be the one to make the first swing or anything. So I rap a little bit about packing heat, for self protection. Even though I don't exactly do that. I mean, I've owned a pistol before, but. Yeah, I bought a pistol from the Illinois State Fair. Sorry, not the Illinois State Fairgrounds. King County Fairgrounds when I was 18. But then my mom put it in a lockbox. And gave it to my dad. So right now it's just sitting in a lockbox in my dad's basement. And honestly, I don't really care what happens to it, because I don't really want it anyway. I also learned to stay away from the South Side, because I really have no business going down there. I really have no business going in any South Side or West Side neighborhoods. I mean, I remember my friend and I were going to the South Side after a Bulls game. We went to Englewood, which is known as the worst neighborhood in Chicago. Just to see if it's really as bad as it is. It didn't appear to be that dangerous. We were even in this convenience store hanging out with a bunch of GDs, gangster disciples. They were pretty cool. They were pretty nice. We were getting along with them. It's probably because I was wearing the right colors. I was wearing blue. But anyway, so. Going back to the question. Some of the stuff I rap about. I did, but a lot of some parts of it I exaggerate just to make a story. Just to make people go like, because I remember something Lil Bibby was saying about Slim Jesus in an interview with Vlad TV, is that part where Slim Jesus, I think this was Lil Bibby that said that. Yeah, Lil Bibby was saying that the part where Slim Jesus messed up is when he said that what he was rapping about, is not his life. Is that he should have just left people wondering if he was really about the life that he was rapping about. Like, he should have just put out Drill Time, and left people wondering if he was really like honest about what he was rapping about. I mean, of course, if you remember from the drill music video, he had the sign that said, that the guns in the video were just props, and Slim Jesus was saying that was just because there were people in the video that are minors, but he didn't really need to have that, because I've seen a bunch of drill music videos where minors had guns. They didn't have that. but nah, little Bibby had a point, you know. Slim Jesus could have just like left people wondering, you know, if he was really about the life he was rapping about. So I kind of just like exaggerated and like all just, you know, I decided to just let my listeners, you know, wonder, you know, if that's, really, if that's like if I'm exaggerating or not. But I'm just so the bottom line is I've exaggerated in some parts just to make a story, but I didn't exaggerate too much because I didn't want to be fake. But most of it, you know, most of what I was rapping about was a reflection of my reality. So yeah, most of it is true. I've been living the party life, but I've been smart as I try to be as smart as I can. You know, I try not to get drunk because when I got drunk that night in Chicago, it did not feel good. I was throwing up. I felt terrible, man. I felt sick as hell, man. I don't even want to talk about it. It felt like awful. So I don't even really want to get drunk again, even though I was kind of talking about getting drunk in my songs. But nah, I'm much rather be high than drunk because I've been high, you know, many times, and being high actually feels good. You know, you don't want to be high when you when you go to work or if you're like going to church or something important like that. But you know, if you're just out like partying, you know, it's okay to get high. You know, I mean, of course now in Illinois, you know, weed has been legalized, you know, as of January 1st, 2020. So I'm not incriminating myself when I say that, that I smoke weed, that I've smoked weed quite a bit. I haven't been smoking weed much since the pandemic began because I couldn't really get any from dispensaries or anything. I do smoke CBD, but anyway, so most of what I was rapping about is true. Some parts I exaggerated, so I hope that answers the question.
Yo, fucking with my style, man, I'll drive these bitches wild. They just square like fucking tiles, while my shit is way more mild. They don't really wanna fuck with this, I spit it to some bullshit. Some brains are all just covetous, I show them all my ruggedness. I short it with a mullet, a little girl circle pull.
Absolutely not. In fact, the most legal trouble I've ever gotten into was that citation I was talking about before. When my homie and I were in Chicago, we were at an L station and we got caught red-handed by the cops sipping vodka in those little bottles. Yeah, I got a citation that ran me $300, but yeah, that's the most legal trouble I've ever gotten into. You know, I've never been arrested. You know, never got any tickets for higher fees. You know, probation. You know, I've actually never even been into a courthouse before. I mean, when I got that citation, I could have gone to court to fight the case, but here's the thing about it. The cops, I was a little bit underage, you know, I was 20 at the time, but the cops didn't charge me for underage drinking, surprisingly. They only charged me for drinking in public, and I'm guessing they didn't charge me for underage drinking because I told them I have autism, you know, which they understood, you know, in most cases with the cops, you know, if you have autism, you do want to let the cops know that you have autism because most cops are educated enough to understand autism. So it never hurts to let them know that you have it. I mean, of course, you know, a lot of people think it's a disability since the U.S. government considers it a disability, but it never hurts to tell them. I mean, they might see you as disabled, you know, because you know they'll think autism is a disorder. But anyway, so yeah, going back to your question, yeah, that's the worst legal trouble I've ever gotten into. I could have gone to court to fight the case, but I decided not to because I figured that if I went to court, they would try to charge me for underage drinking, and I'd probably get a higher fee and possibly even jail time. So I decided to just pay up the $300 and get it out of the way, and then the case was dismissed.
I be getting dizzy, sipping whiskey, tripping, but I'm smoking mad loud, so I ain't gon' pass out. I can turn the Trump Hotel and Tower to a trap house and make more than Trump does. In a tragic slump was where I was, but now I'm out, so let that music bump.
And in addition to my prescription pills, not really. I mean, I mentioned, I've smoked weed quite a bit. Of course, ever since the pandemic began, I haven't been able to, get weed. Not to mention there's been a shortage of that in Illinois. Like right when recreational weed started hitting the dispensaries, the dispensaries ran out of recreational weed real fast. So yeah, it was hard for me to get some. So yeah, I was smoking weed quite a bit before, but now I just smoke CBD, and I'm happy with it because keeps me sane, keeps me calm, but other than that, just my prescription pills, no heroin, no crack, no Molly, none of that. So yeah, none of those stupid drugs, like none of those drugs that like really mess you up.
Put your hands up to the sky if you're feeling hella fly. If you take a look, you'll see you can't tell us who to be.
I wouldn't place myself in any category of rap. See, something I've learned ever since joining the game is that you do not want to categorize yourself in rap. I mean, if you want to aim for a certain style, that's cool, but it's not. It's something I learned ever since joining the rap game is that it is not your job to categorize yourself. That is the media's job. Your listeners, when you distribute your music and it's out in the media, it's the media's job to categorize you, whether they want to categorize you, as a conscious rapper, a gangster rapper, a pop rapper, man, what else? A mumble rapper, a trapper, all that. That's for the media to categorize you, And I learned this because, I see all these famous rappers, getting categorized in like, all different categories, like for instance, Lil Wayne. A lot of people see Lil Wayne as a mumble rapper. I don't see Lil Wayne as a mumble rapper. I actually think Lil Wayne has some talent. I know really one of the main reasons people hate on Lil Wayne is because of his voice. His voice is very electrical. Because his voice is kind of high maintenance. Needs a lot of production, but. No, Lil Wayne. I actually think Lil Wayne has some pretty good rhymes and wordplay. I never thought of Lil Wayne as a mumble rapper, but that's just my opinion. See, the thing is, we're all human beings. We're all gonna have our own opinions on artists. So we're really it's all about personal opinion. When it comes to like which categories rappers are in. I mean, of course, there are rappers that are like in obvious categories, like for instance, Bubba Sparks. He's obviously a country rapper. Limp Bizkit. They're obviously rock rappers. What else? Iggy Azalea. She's obviously a pop rapper. There's obvious categories like that, but really you can't really categorize yourself as a rapper. That you got to let the media decide that for you. So really what I do is just I just rap about my life. I just tell how it is, and let the media categorize me. Like and honestly I really don't care which category they place me in because the thing about it is I'm a white rapper from the burbs, so that's two strikes from a hater-free career. So, haters are gonna throw shit at me for being being a white rapper from the burbs, and like, man, there's all kinds of reasons haters have to hate on me. So man, and I've said it all over my discography. I really don't care what haters think about me. In fact, if you really think about it, haters are a positive thing for you, because when haters hate on you, they're getting you more publicity, because they're going around people saying, "Oh, Jaylin Santana, he sucks. Oh, Jaylin Santana, he copied Jules Santana with his stage name." All that, man, like I don't care, because at the end of the day, that just gets me more publicity. Because if you really think about it, when haters are like going around saying, "Oh, don't listen to Jaylin Santana, he sucks," that's actually going to get people wanting to listen to me, to find out for themselves. I remember when I remember when I dropped Route 58, in early 2015, and then a few months later, I actually had an old friend from middle school message me on Facebook and was saying, "Hey, you remember me? We went to middle school together, and I heard you're a rapper now, and I would really love to listen to your music." And then I was like, "Yeah, absolutely." And then I sent him the link to my album Route 58 on SoundCloud, and then he checked it out, and he liked it, and he told me he found out I was a rapper because another kid from middle school found my music and was telling him about me, and saying that I suck. And then he was like, oh, Jonah sucks. I want to find this out for myself. So anyway, it goes to show you that haters are actually going to get you, is actually what's going to get you publicity. If you look up rappers or like musical artists in general with the most haters, the names you're going to see are the ones that are the most well-known names in the game. Like if you look up most hated rappers in the game, like you'll see Drake, Lil Wayne, who else? Soulja Boy, rappers like them, and Lil Wayne, Drake, and Soulja Boy, they're some of the biggest names in modern hip hop. So they kind of made it to where they are because of their haters. So anyway, that goes back to what I was saying about I don't care what haters think about me. They can say whatever the hell they want about me. Try to make me out to look fake. I really don't care. They can place me in whatever category they want. I don't care. But if you're gonna ask me which category I would put myself in, I do not put myself in any category, because that is not my job. That is up to the media.
It's Jaylin. I don't lose, right? I roll deep. I'm just letting you know. Yo, I'm just like a broken Nintendo. I ain't playing games. No more showing up to your own faults, cause I ain't taking blames. You play with fires, blazing flames. You about to see where Jaylin names. Yo, hating James, yo, suffering. I'ma call you what I'm saying.
Yes, I do have another album underway, and in fact, this one, I really got something cooking up right now. My next album is gonna be a mixture of hip hop, rock, and country. See, I've been getting back into rock and country music lately. See, rock and roll, that was my favorite genre when I was first listening to music when I was 10 or 11. When I was 11, I was listening to a lot of rock and roll, and a lot of that was because my mom was the lead singer of many rock and roll bands, and so I kind of inherited that from her. So and I was listening to the bands that she grew up with, like Def Leppard, Poison, Motley Crue, Joan Jett, of which I am going to see in concert this summer. By the way, I got tickets to their stadium tour at Wrigley Field. I'm going to that concert in Chicago this summer. I got those tickets for my dad for Christmas. So that's a concert I'm going to this summer. You know, COVID is bound to be over by then. You know, with the number of cases that are dropping and all the vaccines that are coming out. But anyway, so rock and roll was my number one genre before hip hop was. But this was when I was 11, and you know, I was playing the guitar, and I progressively got better at the guitar. I mean, of course, I played a lot of instruments as a kid. You know, I played the violin. You know, I played percussion. What else did I play? I played the recorder. Yeah, I tried drums when I was 12. I didn't really have much luck at that. Did I play any other instruments? No, just guitar. And you know, I struggled at that. I struggled at that a bit. Of course, eventually, you know, I got into sports and decided to just focus on playing football and basketball. But then, of course, after I didn't have much luck at that, you know, I was mentioning earlier that I played football my sophomore year of high school at St. Charles North, and got like little to no playing time, and then I got cut from the basketball team, and those events are actually what helped me find my voice in rap, because I was listening to more and more hip hop music at the time. I was listening to a lot of Fort Minor, Jay-Z, Eminem, Lil Wayne, so you know, then I learned you know, about rap. You know, learned that it was you know, rhymes and wordplay. So you know, so that, yeah, so you know I kind of you know, took the lemons that life was handing me and made lemonade out of them, and started rapping from there. But anyway, so going back to what I was saying about rock and roll. Rock and roll was my favorite genre before hip hop was. When I was 16, I was way more of a metalhead when I was throughout my early adolescence. Like I was listening to mostly new metal bands like Slipknot, Disturbed, Avenged Sevenfold, Rage Against the Machine. You know, I was definitely a metalhead. You know, when I was like 11 till when I was 16, and rock and roll was still my second favorite genre. You know, even when I started rapping, and and I learned, like I said before, I learned that every rapper's got to have their second, third, or even fourth favorite genres, because like I said earlier, hip hop, was invented by just about every other genre you can think of. Like I said earlier, there was the documentary that Ice-T made where he and some other rappers were having a conversation about how they took records of other genres and made it what they called the do-it-yourself version. So anyway, I've been getting back into rock and roll and country a lot lately. I've been listening to a lot of the bands I listened to as during my pre-adolescence and adolescence, like Def Leppard, Quiet Riot, Motley Crue. Who else? My favorite band right now is Living Colour. Yeah, they're my favorite rock band right now. My favorite individual rock artist is Chuck Berry. So my next album, I'm playing the guitar again because my stepdad, my now stepdad, who's pretty soon no longer going to be my stepdad because he and my mom are going through a separation and divorce. That's not nearly as big of a process as it was with my mom and the abusive stepdad. But anyhow, he gave me a guitar that used to be his brother's, and he got it all fixed up, and then I tuned it all up, and I'm playing the guitar again. So I have another album underway, but it's not just going to be me rapping. It's going to be me playing the guitar, and I'm going to get some drum beats to accompany the guitar. I'm going to get some licenses to beats from major producers like I have been. And yeah, just make a dope, rocking and cool little country album. And it's gonna be called Dirty 630. And man, anybody who listens to the Dirty 630 will know exactly why it's gonna be called Dirty 630, because that is the name of that's the street name for our area codes, the 630. Man, 630, that includes St. Charles, South Belgium, Streamwood, Aurora. We call it the Dirty 630. So it's pretty much going to be like giving people like audio taste of the Dirty 630, because a lot of parts of the Dirty 630 are urban, a lot of them are suburban, a lot of them are rural, in the boondocks. So I think it makes sense for an album called the Dirty 630 to be hip hop, rock, and country. So that I don't plan on releasing until like 2022, because with these rock and country elements, it's gonna take a little more time. I definitely don't plan on dropping that in 2021. So 2022 is when I'm planning on getting that ready to be dropped.
Call me Emperor Cusco, it's my new groove. In the game, though my name is the same, it's my kung fu move. With my lyrics, it's coherent in the spirits, the deja vu you've has what I do prove to be wrong. I ain't the same person that you knew when I first joined the rap game, like Squirtle's evolution. The war turtle that's straight up to blast toys evolve, and is what I do by the day some people think I fall.
What got me into rock and country music? Well, I kind of answered the question about rock earlier. It's kind of part of the family. In fact, rock and country are actually both going in the family. My mom was the lead singer of several rock and roll bands. In fact, I can't even think of how many bands she's been in. My mom's been singing ever since she was able to talk, and she is, I have to say, the most talented singer I've ever heard. Her voice, it's beautiful. She can sing just about any genre you can think about. Rock, R&B, soul, even country. Because if Taylor Swift can be from Pennsylvania, and sing country. A lot of people think you have to have a southern accent to sing country, but that's not true. Taylor Swift, even though she transitioned to pop, she really pulled off country music. She was from a rural part of Pennsylvania, and she really pulled off the sound in country. But I told you about rock. Rock and roll. That's been my music since I was 11. I remember my first rock concert was Heart at Naperville's Rib Fest. It was Naperville's Rib Fest in 2009. I could have either saw them or Blue Oyster Cult, because Blue Oyster Cult was performing on another stage. But I chose Heart because I've heard them more and I like them better. So rock and roll. That goes back to when I was 11. It was my favorite genre before hip hop was, and it's still my second favorite genre after hip hop. And then my third favorite is country. Man, country, that runs in the family, mainly because my family actually knew Johnny Cash. I am not lying. My family, we knew Johnny Cash, and we're still in touch with his family too. His daughter and his grandson named Thomas Gabriel, who's actually keeping up his grandfather's legacy and singing country music himself. Yeah, Thomas Gabriel. I'm actually friends with him. I'm friends with him on Facebook. I talk to him once in a while. In fact, I might even recruit him to collaborate with me on Dirty 630. Even though he's not from the Dirty 630, he grew up in Nashville. He grew up in Tennessee. So man, it would be but man, who cares? Who cares? This is a rock, hip hop, and country album. So man, it's all good. If I can if I can just get his voice on a chorus, that'd be top notch. But anyway, I'm still friends with Thomas, Kathy Cash, Johnny Cash's grandson. So if Johnny Cash was still here today, man, I would have definitely known him. But my dad, he actually sang with Johnny Cash. Yeah, no lie. And the reason why we knew Johnny Cash and we're still tight with his families, because my dad and Thomas, Johnny Cash's grandson, they actually grew up with each other as kids. They knew each other since they were 10. See, my dad grew up in Nashville, as did Thomas, and they were best friends ever since then, and they stay in touch, to this day. And my dad even went to one of his shows that was in Illinois when he was going on tour. So yeah, Thomas, he's keeping up his grandfather's legacy, and I'm not gonna lie, his voice, he sounds just like his grandfather. So he's essentially the next Johnny Cash, being his grandson and sounding just like him. So yeah, that's pretty much what got country music into my life. I was born in Germantown, Tennessee. I mean, the part of Tennessee I was born in was a bit urban, because we were just, I was born just right outside of Memphis. Memphis, that's like the most urban area of Tennessee. But Memphis, it's like kind of out in the country. It's like pretty much like an urban area, like kind of like out in the country. And plus I've been going down to Tennessee quite a bit, the eastern part of Tennessee, like out in the boondocks, because that's where my grandparents lived. My grandma, who just died last summer. She and my step grandfather, who's actually 15 years her senior. He's 90 years old. He now stays in a retirement home. Not a retirement home, a nursing home in eastern Tennessee. They had a house in Gatlinburg, but that burned down in the Gatlinburg wildfires in 2016, and then they got a house in Sevierville. So anyway, I was out in the boondocks of Tennessee quite often. So I've been around boondocksy areas. Plus where I live, like I said earlier, where I live now is kind of boondocksy. I live in like the suburban part of St. Charles, but if you go the next town, the next few towns over, you're kind of out in the boondocks. There is quite a lot of country folks, out here where I live. So yeah, it would make sense for a rapper from St. Charles to be doing country rap and rock rap, of course. But of course, I pursue these genres, merely because I like them. Lately I've been, like I said, I've been bumping out rock music. Nu metal bands like Slipknot, Disturbed, Limp Bizkit, Korn, and of course, retro rock like Winger, Rat. Who else? Kiss, Van Halen, Living Color mostly, and Green Day. I'm actually going to see Green Day, The Interrupters, Weezer, and Fall Out Boy in concert this summer too. I'm seeing Kiss in concert in September. I got my mom tickets to see them for Christmas too. So she and I are gonna go see them, and that's hopefully gonna give me the inspiration I need to write the album. So anyway, I pursue these genres, because I like them. They're my genres. I'll rap, play guitar, and I'm just gonna have fun. Have fun. That's what this music is about right now. I'm an unsigned artist. I'm not making enough to make a living out of it yet. So I'm just gonna have fun with it, and just give him my all, and be Jaylin Santana. So yeah, there you have it.
Cruising in my city, club to club, they see me hopping, getting all them popping, then mobbing and rocking. I ain't never stopping. Bad chicks I be spotting, they jocking on me so their names won't be forgotten. That's who I'ma holla at, my 64 Impala that I cruisin's what they see me in, like wait is what you call a fad. Riding if the haters talk, they gon' see this player walk in a club so fresh and clean, then they gon' get a major shock. Cause I be at a club where a gang of guys be staring at me, glaring badly like they got a problem and they dare get snappy. With me they see me as a true gangster cause I'm wearing baggy. Closest could be flaring nasty, but I'm still here blaring happy vibes for all the homies. Here we rolling like the dunes, mornings and afternoons. These buffoons and maroons think my squad and I are loons, but this ain't a Looney Tunes. Showy dangerous like raccoons, this is squad I call my goons.